warm welcome to It Stays on the Ice for the 25th anniversary of the Titan. We're up here at the bar, not on the ice, with some pillars of the team through the years. And the coach and GM this year, Mr. Gordie Dwyer, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
How does it feel to be so close to your hometown of Dalhousie, working here?
Yeah, you know what? It's wonderful. It's great to be back in the region, great to be back in the area, and it's home, and it's great to be able to share it with friends and family as well. So I'm excited about the opportunity of being back here in northern New Brunswick, and to be able to share that with my friends and family, to have them be part of it is special.
So when did you get the coaching bug? Like, at what point in your rather illustrious career did you say, like, what's that guy doing? We should be playing this system. Why is he putting those guys out there? When did that kind of start?
You know what? It's funny because, hockey's always been a huge passion of mine. And, I was very fortunate to play at a young age and really fell in love with the game. And, I think a lot of that has to do with my coaches. And, I think about my minor hockey coaches. I think about the people that helped me become a good young hockey player. And, I remember as a young kid, I think it was in grade 1 or grade 2, they'd asked me in class, what I wanted to be. And I wrote down hockey coach at that point. Yeah. And it's, I think it had a lot of my coaches did have a huge influence, and I never really forgot that. I think about some of my coaches I had in minor hockey. I was fortunate enough to move on to play junior hockey and professionally. And I think that every coach that I had, in some form or fashion helped shape me and, into the person that I am and ultimately into the coach that I am now. So I've always had a huge appreciation for coaching.
That's excellent. And that kind of runs through to my next question. Having played in the KHL, the AHL, the IHL, the QMJHL, and the NHL, how did playing through that and coaching through that shape you as the coach that you are today?
Well, I mean, again, my career's given me a lot of experience, and I think every experience that you have gives you a different perspective on things and a greater perspective. And I look at my playing career, and I was very fortunate to have been able to play at those levels and ultimately play in the National Hockey League. And I'm proud of that achievement. But it's not just of getting to the National Hockey League. It's the steps along the way. And I think one of the secrets or one of the tricks that I always had is that I never really looked too far ahead. I didn't have it planned out where I thought, at this age I have to be here, at this age I have to be there. I really was, I look back on my career in minor hockey, I look back on my career in junior hockey. A lot of it was spent in the present, and I really enjoyed the opportunity. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the, different parts of the game in particular. And, that competitiveness is something that's always been in me. And, I think from that, those qualities or, those characteristics helped me achieve my goal of playing in the National Hockey League. But it wasn't set out for me that I was absolutely going to play in the NHL. I think it was more about the fact that I enjoyed every step along the way.
Yeah. And touching on characteristics and different abilities, we usually ask the questions like, what does a coach see in a player on the ice? What does he want to see? What does a coach want to see from a player off the ice? So we got a lot of young hockey players watching this now, and they're trying to shape their game. So what does a coach look for off the ice?
That's a great question because, ultimately hockey, you want to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And, that's critical. That's the key. And you want to identify that. And that's young boys and young girls that are committed, that are present, that want to, put the work in ultimately, but at the same time, they're good people. They're good to be around, and they're well liked by their teammates and by their coaches, and they're respectful. And for coaching, we try to develop good hockey players, but we're trying to develop better people.
Better people, absolutely. And I sometimes wonder, because I'm the man in the stands here, so I yell in the mic. I go Titan, go! I'm wondering if how the players and coaches react to different types of crowds. And really, are there memorable times during your career, having played in Europe, the NHL, where the rink was just vibrating, or it was just crazy?
Well, the fans do play a huge part of it. And I think as a player, you can really feed off the energy from the fans. And, I know that over the years here in Bathurst, we talk about it, and listening to some of the stories today, the amount of emotion and from the fans and what that does for your team and what that, how that can influence the outcome of the game. And, we've seen some great crowds here throughout the years and again this year. And, as a coach, obviously your focus is on your own team and on your own players, but you can tell when your team is benefiting from the home crowd. And it's funny because you can tell a crowd, you can tell a Friday night crowd, you can tell a Sunday afternoon crowd, you can tell a
Wednesday crowd.
When there's a lot of kids in the stands as well, and a different pitch of
really
the screams. Yeah, so it's it's something that we feed off quite a bit. I wouldn't say necessarily as a coach, but from your players, your players do feed off it quite a bit. So when I look back at it, I've been fortunate enough to play in some different situations, and I was telling a story today about obviously one of my highlights was playing for the Montreal Canadiens, and my first game with the Montreal Canadiens was on a Saturday night, on Hockey Night in Canada versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I remember that feeling.
Is there a higher stage besides Game 7 of a playoff, like a Habs Leafs Saturday night game?
Yeah, well, it's something special, And I was talking to somebody today that was at the game on Saturday where Montreal beat Toronto at home on just this last Saturday night.
Easily.
So I remember being part of that and just being part of that energy and the buzz around the city about the game. And, so those different experiences, they help shape you and give you a different perspective. But it's, I'm very fortunate to have lived in some of those, have those experiences.
Yeah, because we have soccer here in North America and football in Europe. I'm wondering, because the fans just seem so much wilder and just so much into it over there. Like, does it translate to hockey as well?
Yeah, you know what? The European crowds are special, for
boisterous.
Sure. Yeah, so it's funny because we talk a lot about the memorabilia or the jerseys, and here it's great to support your team, and someone's got a ball cap on or someone's got something with the logo on.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and when I played in Germany, I looked at it in Germany and I said, well, one jersey wasn't enough. 2 jerseys wasn't enough. They would wear sometimes 3 jerseys. They'd wear one, tie one around their waist, and wear one over their shoulders. So, it was just the amount of fan support, and they have different sections that were just for the fans. And I remember coaching in Switzerland a few seasons ago, and in a town called Ambri-Piotta, one of the top teams, and they just won the Spangler Cup this year. And I've been able to coach in those events, and just the atmosphere at those events are crazy, but just having a team like Ambri-Piotta with thousands and thousands and thousands of fans that were so boisterous, it's I think the European feeling it's a little bit different than what it is in North America, but obviously great fans all over.
So what do you think here in our the Acadie Bathurst region? What can fans do to best support their team?
Well, again, the support is there. I've spent the season here this year, and wherever you go around town, people know the Titan. They know that it's and it's great to see. It's great that we're in the community. It's great that we're able to be a big part of the community. And that's not just people coming into the rink. That's us going out and spending time in the community, whether it's minor hockey practices, whether it's at schools, whether it's just playing street hockey with some of the kids in the community. So I know the kids look up to our players, and we have a real important part, a role to play in this community. And I'm proud of the people that we're involved with here, with our team, with the people that run our hockey club as well here. We have a real good place in the community, and there's a great partnership there.
And you watch the kids, the young ones, they all wear their little Titan jerseys, and when they go up through the ranks, and they're just, it's a dream, right? It's looking up to these boys and just being like, that's what I want. That's what I want to get to, right?
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's
so.
For the little boys and little girls to have something. They have heroes to look up to, local heroes, and our players
reachable.
Deserve, yeah.
I mean, you give them a handshake and go see them exactly. Like you were saying.
Exactly, and our players deserve that. Our players work hard as young men to get to this level, and they sacrifice a lot, and they put a lot of effort and a lot of time in to become a player at this level, and not only a player at this level, but a good student at this level, and good people. And they're great role models for the community and great role models for the younger generation, and to have that so accessible to the community is something that's that's why we're here.
100%. We're near the end. We're at the rapid fire questions. We'll take a breath. Favorite coach of all time?
Oh, great question. My favorite coach of minor hockey was a gentleman named Percy Collins, Percy Collins, and it was in Quebec. I had moved to Drummondville, Quebec. I didn't speak the language at the time, and he was one of my minor hockey league coaches and really helped me get a lot more comfortable in the community and with minor hockey in Drummondville, Quebec. And from that point on, I think that he really helped shape my career moving forward.
That sounds like it was a little bit more off ice than on ice, because of the language barrier, probably. Yeah. So that's an awesome figure in your career.
Yeah, and I look back. I've been fortunate. I had quite a few great coaches, but I look back at my time in junior hockey, and I had another great coach, a guy named Alain Vigneault. And Alain Vigneault's coached a long time in the National Hockey League, and we had a great rapport on the ice, and but off the ice as well. And I just felt that he was someone that had a really good presence, had good strong presence, and was well prepared, and our teams were well prepared. And I felt that someone like him was someone that I could look up to, and another guy that's really helped shape my career.
The scariest player you've played against?
Well, that's a good question. There's quite a few scary players back in the day. I know that. Yeah. I think about my time in junior hockey. There was quite a few what we call a lot of tougher guys back then. But I think about the late Bob Probert. I fought him one night in Chicago, and I remember back then it was a funny story because I got into a fight in Chicago. I was playing in Tampa at the time, and I fought Bob Probert. And so after the game, I was just really happy that I was,
that you were in the ring.
I made it out. And so the following day, the Associated Press had taken one photo that night and ran it in different pictures, different newspapers and publications around North America. And then it just happened to be a picture of Bob Probert and I fighting. And there's a funny story that I never met Bob Probert for many years after, and then I finally got an opportunity to meet him, and I was really impressed with him as an individual. He was a great guy. He remembered everything. He remembered the fight and remembered our time together. And so you think about guys like Bob Probert, Rob Ray, George Larac. There was quite a few guys back then that could put a little bit of fear into you, but I guess it was all part of the game back then.
Loudest rink you've played in or coached in?
Yeah, well, great question. Obviously Montreal was a big one. Lucky enough to play and with the New York Rangers and play against the New York Islanders in some of those games as well. But I think coaching in the Spangler Cup for Team Canada was something that was really special as well.
Wow.
And I look back in 2016, was Luke Richardson, myself, and Dave King who were coaching Team Canada at the Spangler Cup. And that environment, at that time of year, it's a real special tournament, real special event. And I think about winning the gold medal or the medal at the Spangler Cup, and the fans and that energy in that building was something special.
Did you have something special for your pre-game routine or as a ritual?
Well, it's funny, yeah. As a player, you tend to develop a lot of superstitions, and at times you try to juggle them and make sure that you try not to go overboard with them. But because again, it was, as most hockey players are superstitious, but for myself, I try to limit it as much as possible. But I did like, I'm a big fan of chicken parm. I would always eat chicken parm before games, and then I think you put your left skate on before your right skate, something along those lines. But there was a way of getting dressed back then that you wanted to make sure that your timing was right and how you got ready for the games. But I think a good pregame meal and having a good warm-up did the trick.
Nice. If not live at the rink, where's the best spot to watch a hockey game?
Oh, great question. Obviously you want to watch junior hockey, and there's nothing more exciting than junior hockey. But one thing I tell the fans, and if you get a chance to watch a game, that's great. But if you get a chance to watch warm-up or watch a team practice, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
So I think that having that kind of interaction from a fan's perspective or from a young person's perspective, a young coach's perspective, it's one thing to watch the game and be entertained by the game. But if you get a chance to watch these players warm up or watch these players practice, then you can have a real appreciation for their skill set and
a real understanding of what makes the hockey player.
Absolutely. So don't forget how important practices are and warm up is. So if you have the opportunity to spend some time at this level to watch the team practice or warm up, you'll get a real appreciation for the talent that the players have.
Are you a poutine guy or a pizza guy?
Oh, do you have to choose?
You absolutely have to choose.
You know, I love poutine, but I'm a big fan of pizza. So I think I'll have to go with pizza if I have to pick one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gordie Dwyer, for being
Thanks,
on
Joe.
the show. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And don't forget, keep your heads up and your sticks on the ice. See you next time. Woo! Champion!
Merci.
Champion!
Thank you.